Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we really try to unpack the fascinating. Today we're stepping into, well, a pretty unique artistic world. It's been called a terra incognita of speculative experience.
That's a great way to put it. We're looking at the American artist Bob Camblin, specifically focusing on this big retrospective of his work covering, 1956 right up to 1993?
Exactly. And over the next little while, you'll hopefully get a real feel for an artist who is constantly challenging how we see things, exploring the human condition through his art.
And for this, we've got some great material to dig into. There's the foreword to the retrospective catalog, some really compelling quotes directly from Camblin himself, and selected pages looking at specific years and artworks.
Yeah, quite a bit to work with. So our mission really is to pull out the key insights. How did his art evolve? What themes keep popping up? And that fascinating connection between his work and sort of the intellectual vibe of his time.
Makes sense. So maybe start at the beginning. Those early years sound pretty formative.
Absolutely. Let's look at, say, 1956 and 1959. Big year, 56, he gets a Fulbright Award, goes to Italy.
Right, and that exposure to Renaissance art, it seems like Hugo van der Gogh's Portinari altarpiece really made an impact, something he kept coming back to.
Yeah, definitely. And even then, he was getting recognition. Also in 56, purchased prizes for Still Life with Pomegranates, and another one at the Joslin Art Museum.
So right off the bat, people were seeing something distinctive there.
I think so. And if you look at the drawing, the artist from that year, it's quite something. You've got this unusual high angle looking down, and there's this solitary, almost childlike figure looking up.
That perspective is key, isn't it? It kind of sets you apart, observing, makes the figure seem a bit vulnerable.
And all those scattered symbols around the figure, geometric shapes.
Yeah, like the first attempts to make marks, to understand things. That basic human thing, right? Making sense of it all.
Totally. And then there's that fence, a really stark line across the picture.
Mm-hmm. Dividing the known from the unknown, maybe. It feels symbolic. The catalog mentions surrealism, symbolism, Clé de Chirico vibes.
You can see that, the dreamlike feel, but also the weight of the symbols, like that fence.
Exactly, that internal psychological space meeting the external world. The fence is a barrier.
Yeah.
It works on that symbolist level.
Okay, so moving to 57, he starts teaching down in Florida at the Ringling Museum.
And he's in that Fulbright painter show at the Whitney, getting his work seen.
Right. And that year we also get the drawing Nun. Very strong visually, lots of contrast.
Yeah, the nun figure is just dominant, big, dark habit against the lighter background. It gives her this real presence, maybe authority, but also mystery.
And the kids in front, they seem like seekers. One stepping forward, the other's kind of hiding.
That's interesting. Different ways of approaching whatever the nun represents.
Yeah.
Curiosity versus hesitation.
And that wrought iron fence again gives it an institutional feel. The notes compare it to Kollwitz, German Expressionism, maybe Rouault's religious stuff.
You see it in the bold lines, the contrast, that emotional intensity. It speaks to that whole complex thing of religious authority and the individual search. Maybe the habit hides the path, and the kids show different ways to walk it.
So 58, he's still exhibiting, still teaching in Florida, and we have this drawing, View from Studio Torre, Argentina in Rome. Feels much more personal.
Yeah, it's just everyday life, isn't it? Rooftops, laundry hanging out, potted plants, stuff an artist notices.
Finding beauty in the ordinary.
And the sketch itself is rough, gestural. It's not about perfect detail. It's about capturing the feeling, the moment, quickly.
Yeah, feels less formal, more like just watching.
Yeah.
The catalog links it to Zen ideas like simplicity, wabi-sabi beauty, and imperfection. And urban sketching, like Piranesi.
It shows he could find something special in the mundane. Being mindful, present. It makes you think about looking at the world that way, noticing those little things.
Then in 59, still active in Florida, wins an award for an oil painting, Icarus Descending. Sounds interesting. And we also have the drawing, Bonnie. Very different from the Rome scene. Much quieter.
Yeah, it's got this quiet intensity, just a profile view. The lines are really delicate, but sure. Lots of focus on light and shadow defining the form.
Contemplative, maybe a little sad.
Could be. And the notes suggest a link back to that Renaissance structure he liked, maybe the Portinari altarpiece, or even Botticelli.
So taking those old principles and applying them now to a contemporary face.
Yeah, like understanding the basic architecture of the figure, that form underneath. Even in a portrait, he's thinking about line, light, shadow, the fundamentals.
Okay, so then we hit the 1960s, and things seem to shift. In 60, he starts moving towards abstraction.
Right. And apparently it was sparked by the structure of that Portinari altarpiece again.
But not the figures this time.
No, more the compositional organization. Plus, he was teaching at the University of Illinois, looking into Greek myths, looking at Duchamp, and his son Brian was born. So, yeah, a lot happening.
A transformative year. And we see Birth of Venus II from 1960. Wow, that's a departure. Raw energy, abstracted figures, kind of shifting and changing.
Yeah, you really feel that movement. The lines overlap, they braid apart. It feels like things are forming and dissolving all at once.
Constant flux.
The catalog links it to Zen ideas of impermanence, mu, emptiness as potential. And you can see echoes of abstract expressionism, maybe Pollock or Bacon, surrealism, cubism too, in the fragmented views.
Like watching something become. The notes mention hints of bones, animal shapes in there.
Exactly, which adds this other layer. Questions about life, death, those primal energies maybe bubbling up in the abstraction. It's like a visual metaphor for how everything's always changing. That constant becoming really fits with the Zen idea of impermanence.
Okay. Then in 61, he moves to the University of Detroit Mercy, but in the architecture department. That's interesting.
An interdisciplinary move, yeah. He keeps exhibiting, and we have homage to Hugo from that year, described as deliberately not narrative.
So less storytelling, more abstract.
Focusing on abstract color relations, but with poetic suggestions. It's this dynamic mix of browns, blacks, yellow, ochre, expressive brushwork. The idea is paying tribute through the abstract elements, not by painting a picture of Hugo.
Like capturing the feeling of Hugo through just color and texture. He apparently said something about abstract works. The greater the painting, the less the viewer will be aware of the secrets of its greatness.
Exactly. It asks for a different kind of looking. You feel the tribute through the visual interplay, not by recognizing something specific. Shows he was getting confident in abstraction's power to convey feeling.
1962, he travels to Italy again with Bruno Leon. Starts his Greek myth series.
Context matters too. The catalog mentions Robert Smithson doing drawings with text around this time.
Ah, okay. And Camblin had a solo show in Wisconsin that got praised for religious undertones. Interesting.
Yeah. And then we have variation on Turner's The Parting of Hero and Leander.
So engaging directly with art history there. Turner's painting, which was based on the Greek myth by Musaeus.
Right. And what jumps out is that wild sea, the dark mood from the line work, the cross-hatching.
Definitely dramatic. Foreboding. The catalog mentions a surreal quality, exaggerated forms. It's like it's paying respects to Turner, but it's clearly Camblin's own thing too.
Yeah, it shows that dialogue with the past, but filtering it through his own lens, his own psychology, how artists build on and change what came before.
Okay, 1963. Still exhibiting. A piece called The Fate of Miss Daphne Vinace. Sounds intriguing. And we have the painted ICs. This one feels really important, incorporating text right onto the image.
It's powerful, isn't it? That contrast. The human figure drawn with these almost frantic lines looks kind of constrained. Then there's the painted eye, more iconic, detached.
And that text.
Yeah.
So raw. The painted eye sees more than mine, and goddamn it, I see nothing yet.
Wow. Yeah, very direct. It grounds the whole philosophical thing in this really human frustration that wanting to see more, understand more. The notes connect it to Zen ideas again.
How so?
Well, the painted eye could be like pure awareness,
Right.
unfiltered. While the figure is our perception, all clouded by our stuff, the text is that struggle, wanting clearer sight, that gap between our limited view and maybe a deeper understanding, and that yet at the end.
Leaves room for hope, an ongoing search.
Exactly.
Moving into 64, his daughter Robin is born. He's in a group show. Reviews mention his style is representational but also surreal.
A distinctive mix.
And we have The Return of the Archer. This looks really packed, psychologically intense.
Yeah, the line work is incredibly detailed. And these figures, a bearded man, hooded figures, maybe even skeletal shapes in the background, it's all very enigmatic. What does the Archer's return mean? Who is he?
Feels like a moment loaded with stuff unsaid. Like something just happened or is about to. The catalog says it continues that surreal, narrative, suggestive style. Left plot, more mood.
Right. Creates an atmosphere, hints at some deeper psychological landscape. It really pulls you in, makes you trying to figure out the connections, the underlying meaning.
Then 65's move, University of Utah. Gets involved locally, has a solo show, Windows. And he's reading Foucault's Madness in Civilization.
That's significant. Foucault's ideas about how society defines madness.
Yeah, and he exhibits in Canada too. We have St. Bartholomew from this year. Quite a striking image. Maybe unsettling.
It is. The face is kind of doll-like.
Yeah.
And the eyes are asymmetrical, one blue, one patched over.
And then the text scrawled right on it. This is a weird picture.
Toggle slightly. Yeah, talk about direct. It just confronts you, definitely challenges traditional religious icons. And connecting it to Foucault, yeah, it makes you think about how we define normal or abnormal, even in religious art.
Like the artwork itself is saying, I'm outside the norm.
Totally. It's not your serene, idealized saint. There's vulnerability, a strangeness, makes you question those conventions. How do we see figures of faith or anyone outside the mainstream?
Okay, 1966 seems like a busy one. Lots of exhibitions, wins a prize for Cecilia's Song. He's working on a St. Basilisk series, a Chrysalis series, and starts his Scarecrow series.
A lot going on. And he's also talking about his philosophy, the artist balancing intuition and rational thought.
And we see that in Gloved Hand from 66.
I think so. The glove itself is rendered in incredible detail. It's the clear focus. But then it's next to these other things, a paper airplane, roses. And the background is complex, ambiguous. It feels like that tension, intuition, and logic.
Like this ordinary thing, the glove, dropped into a dream, makes you look for connections. The notes mention themes of concealment, maybe creation, the artist's hand, and the artist's role.
Exactly. The glove covering something up becomes symbolic. The other objects add layers. You feel the artist arranging this unusual, thought-provoking scene.
Then in 67, another big move, Rice University in Houston. He was looking for a more open atmosphere, apparently. Gets involved in the art department there. And we have a piece called Rubber Reliquary from around then. The title alone. It's a paradox.
Right. Rubber. Reliquary. Things for holy relics. Exactly. Using this mundane,